All right, Meg, we're here with Martinus Evans, and you might know him from Instagram.
Yeah, Martinus, welcome to the show. You are the 300-pound runner on Instagram. Talk to us about that handle.
Yes, 300 pounds in running came from one of my favorite songs, which is the NWA song called 100 Miles in Running, right? And I decided to pick this name back in 2012, after my doctor called me fat. I told him, screw you, I'm going to run a marathon. He laughed at me and told me that was the dumbest thing he heard in all his years of practicing medicine. So I bought shoes, failed miserably, but continued to run. And that was just the handle that started the journey.
That's crazy. It's weird that a medical professional would be like discouraging you from getting in shape.
Yeah, talk to us. Let's go back to that moment in time. What were you doing at the doctor, and how did that all go down?
Absolutely. So I was working at Men's Warehouse at the time. So imagine being on your feet for 8 to 12 hours a day in hard bottom dress shoes, standing on carpet wrapped in concrete. So I was on my feet. I developed some hip issues, and I went to go see a doctor because I was having this hip pain. So I went to go see this doctor. This was the first time meeting this doctor, and that's where we ended up at, right? I was explaining to him what was going on, what was my life like. I was a weekend warrior, played basketball on the weekends, played flag football with friends and family. And, just trying to explain to him, I'm on my feet, I'm moving around, I'm hustling, but I got this hip pain that's slowing me down. And, that's when he was like, well, I know what's wrong with you. And I'm like, okay, what's wrong? Let me know. And then that's when he went into this whole thing of, you're fat, you need to lose weight or die, you got a stomach as a pregnant woman, all of this stuff, right?
Wow.
And, I'm just the type of guy, you're just not going to talk to me any type of way. So I'm quick on my feet as well. And I was like, screw all this stuff you're saying. I can run a marathon if I want it. I'm on my feet 8 to 12 hours a day. And that's when he laughed at me and told me that was the most dumbest thing he heard. And all this.
So what was the first marathon you signed up for?
So I signed up for Detroit Marathon in 2013.
All right, 313.
Okay, wait, but so most people would, I can't say most people, but I think a lot of people would hear this information from a doctor, from a professional who this is what they do for a living, and be discouraged and maybe not have the idea of, oh, I'm going to go run a marathon. Where does this come from?
Where that came from? The dislike I have for authority figures. The thing, I've always grown up with the authority to be able to ask questions, right? And if what somebody is telling me doesn't make sense, you're able to challenge them and figure out why, right? So when this doctor was like, you're fat, I've heard that all my life. I'm a big guy. I played football in high school and in college, right? I've heard that. You're fat, right? You need to lose weight or die. I've had people point fingers and well, you're a big guy, blah, blah, blah. It's a part of the things, but I've been active. So for him to say that, and then for me to say, well, if I wanted to, I can run a marathon, and him tell me that's the dumbest thing he heard in all of his years of practicing medicine, his clout that he had with me, he instantly lost it. And that's the thing, right? I pay this doctor for a service, right? I pay his salary. So I come there for a census on this thing that I'm having. It wasn't like he was my PCP or a doctor that I'm seeing on a regular basis. This doctor didn't know me from Adam. This is the first time he meeting me. And his whole thing of seeing who I am off of my appearance, not necessarily knowing my complete history, and then giving me this diagnosis and then telling me I'm dumb to think of something, he lost all credibility with me.
Yeah, I can see that. So you decide to run this marathon. You said the first one didn't go as well as you'd wanted. So what started, obviously you wanted to get it done just to prove a point, but did you have to regroup? Did you start a training program? What got you off to start loving running?
Absolutely. So let's go through this journey, right? Yeah. I buy shoes from Fleet Feet. Shout out to Fleet Feet. I go home. I get on the treadmill. I failed miserably. Couldn't run longer than 15 seconds. Had myself thinking maybe the doctor was right. Maybe I am dumb. I go home. I have this tattoo on my right wrist that says "No struggle, no progress." See that tattoo. It's a shout out to the 1857 Frederick Douglass speech. Men who want, men who favor freedom, however, who don't deprecate agitation, are men who want crops without plowing the land. They want the rain without thunder and lightning, right? Like there must be a struggle in order to get to a progress. So I have that happen. And from that point on, it was really like going through the journey. Downloaded Couch to 5K, did the whole Couch to 5K, right? And get to week 8, day 3, and they're like, run 30 minutes. Congratulations, you ran your first 5K. And being like, no, no, I didn't, right? So I went through all of this. I went through bumps and bruises. But the thing that really changed my mind for me when it came to running and knowing that I can actually do this was my first 5K. So I ran my first 5K. And at the start of this race, I lined up in the back, the absolute last person. I lined up behind moms with strollers that had dogs attached to them. I thought a mom with one of those double strollers and a golden retriever was going to run faster than me, right? Like that's how much confidence I had in running in my own journey. But when the gun went off and I'm passing these moms and I'm passing these walkers and I'm actually starting to pass people that are actually running that I thought are way faster than me, it clicked for me. Like, oh, I can run. I am a runner and I can actually do this stuff because I'm in the arena doing the thing. So I run a few 5Ks. Eventually, I jump up to a 10K, run a few 10Ks, do a couple half marathons. Now 2012 is over with. On New Year's Day, 2013, I was like, all right, I want to run a marathon. And I was like, you know what? Let me see like when Detroit Marathon is, because I'm originally from Detroit. And I didn't know this, but historically, Detroit Marathon opens their registration on January 1st of every year. So it was almost like serendipitous to me.
Yeah.
That I was like, you know what? I want to run Detroit. Let me figure out when it is. And then it's like, we're open. Sign up now. So I signed up and I had about 10 or so months to like formally train for this race, for this marathon.
So what did you do? So first one, you just did like an app. Like you did a Couch to 5K, right?
Yeah.
And then, so what did you end up using to get yourself ready for Detroit?
Multiple things. So I downloaded a few apps. I had a Hal Higdon plan. I had a Nike plan. And one of the things that I would do, because I felt as if none of these plans were serving me. I don't know if that's the best word for me, but like I remember looking at how some of this stuff progressed and being like, nope. Like, so you want me to run 6 miles and then the next day run 8 miles? And for a beginner mindset, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not about to go from 6 to 9 or 6 to 8. So I would toy around with all of these different training plans, kind of making my own to make it fit. So it was a mixture of like the Nike training app before like the Nike Run Club app was a thing, a mixture of like a Hal Higdon plan, and then a mixture of like another random like marathon training plan that I found like on like Runner's World or something.
Did you find like a friend or a group or a partner to like hold you accountable and get you through the training?
No, all on me. So here's the thing,
Wow.
right? I tried to run with a few local run clubs, the ones that were like all paces was welcome. And I found out that all paces wasn't welcome. My pace wasn't welcome. So I ended up going to a few training clubs and them being like, well, our slowest pace is a 10-minute mile. Can you keep up with that? And I'm like, no. So I had to do everything on my own. At one point, I tried to hire a coach. And the run coach wouldn't hire me because I was 300 pounds. And he was like, well, I don't want to train you. And then you get hurt under my watch. So like back in 2012, there was literally nothing for a 300-pound man who wanted to get active and run in the body that he had now. Like there were so many obstacles. So for me, it felt as if like I had to do this just to like show the world, not only this doctor, but the world that like a 300-pound man can run a marathon.
Yeah. I can imagine it's also difficult like running, as much as we say hey, it's really simple. You just get out there and one foot in front of the other. There's a lot to it. You want, you want to fit in. You want to consider yourself a runner. You want to be dressed in the way that runners dress. The whole 9 yards. Same thing if you went to go, play any other sport. There is a uniform, and I'm guessing that at your size, you weren't fitting in that uniform.
Your guess will be right. So let me tell you the story. 1 year I went into a big box, like sporting goods store. And I remember going to this guy and being like, hey, like, what do you have bigger than a 2XL? Like, do you have any 3X? And then like, I almost having to argue with this guy. Cause the guy was like, you're not a 3X, man. Like, come on, you're yanking my chain. Like, go try on like one of those 2Xs. And I'm like, no, like, I'm really a 3X. So he gives me this Under Armour shirt and was like, well, these shirts run big. Go try it on. I get the shirt on and couldn't get it off of me. So like, I literally had to like rip the shirt. Like I'm a Credible Hulk. Rip the shirt off of me and got the hell up out of there. Right. So it's even that thing of people not even believing me that I am the size that I am or like the weight that I am. Right. And having to wear stuff from Walmart, cotton clothes, like long sleeve, like long tees and things of that sort, and having to go through a lot of chafe until I found out about the gloriousness of like Body Glide.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I got to pick up some.
But yes, like I went through a lot of this stuff and had to learn stuff the hard way. I remember being chafed so bad, man, like almost feeling like I've been cut by 1,000 razor blades.
Yeah.
Because I had nobody I had nobody to help me along this journey. And
it's like you're restarting running.
Yeah.
It's like restarting running from scratch. Like it's like you didn't have the community around you at the time.
Yeah.
To help you out and to figure out some shortcuts to get into where you need to be. I'm guessing though, one of the reasons you're so popular is that there's more people out there that maybe aren't comfortable entering the space with what they see, and then they see someone like you who's like, hey, you can do this, and you don't have to run a 6-minute mile. You don't have to do this. You can enjoy the sport and enjoy running any size.
Exactly.
Or anything going on. Do you find that you get that's like you're getting flocked to for that kind of information, so that now someone doesn't have to learn that they're not going to find the 3XL and, Dick's or something like that?
Yes. I think with the advent of COVID happening and we having a lot of adult onset runners, right? A lot of individuals who didn't have much time on their hand and started to run because that's all they had. And, find out about racing, find out about races, or even had horrible experiences at races. And they find me, right? They find my story, they find my journey, and my message of everybody being active regardless of whatever size they are at, And for me, I think my journey has even evolved from like me running for myself, for me now running for the masses and the people, right? And that's one of the reasons why I even took on this mission of inspiring 1 million people to start running in the body that they have now. Because I get a lot of people that comes to me and it's like, running's bad for your knees, or, my friend, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my doctor tells me that if I want to run, I need to lose X amount of pounds first, yada, yada, yada. Like, how did you go through this? And for me to be able to show, like, I didn't just go from leaving the doctor's office to like running a marathon. Like, it took me about 18 months from that journey, but I did it. And letting people know that you don't have to strive to be a Elliott or a Des Linden or a Boston qualifier, right? Like, you can be happy in the pace and the speed that you are right now, and that's good enough. You can call yourself a runner and you can celebrate, because the celebration comes with the application of actually applying yourself versus letting the idea of, oh, I think I want to run, and nothing comes from it, and you just continue to sit on the couch.
I mean, I guess that's the same, Meg. You know, you do workouts and you do stuff, and we all expect instantaneous results. Like, you know, I do push-ups and stuff, and I expect after I do the push-ups, I'm good. You know, right? Look at this chest; it's great, but it doesn't happen. It takes years, you know, to build this stuff up. But it's interesting to me because we all run for different reasons. Like you're right, there are some people that are chasing a BQ or chasing a look, or maybe it might be losing weight, or it could be anything like that. But it seems like you found a happiness in running that's different. And like, can you explain where your joy in the sport comes from, and like what makes you excited to get up and run every day, or run when you're running?
So trauma is an amazing thing. I also think overcoming adversity was an amazing thing. So I ran my first marathon, right? October 2013. January 2014, I get in this very bad car accident. Totaled my car and had to sit down for about 7 months. Get sad, gained whatever weight I had lost, whatever, right? Get really depressed, almost to the point of like being suicidal. And I was in Connecticut at the time. And if you know anything about Connecticut, it's dark, it's dreary, it's cold. And we had our first 50-degree day. So I was at UConn at the time. I was a student at UConn. I'm driving on UConn's campus, and it's the first 50-degree day. And like, you see everybody out running, riding their bikes, so on and so forth. And I'm sad. I'm super sad, right? And as I'm driving on the campus, watching these people run, one of the things I said to myself, like just in passing, it was like, you know, if I'm able to run again, like, I'm just going to run. I'm not going to focus on weight loss. Like, I just want to run because, like, this was the thing that made me so happy, and it brought me so much joy, and it was taken from me, and now I can't do it because of, like, this dumb car accident, right? And eventually, I did get clearance to start running again, and I kept my end of the promise. I was like, yo, forget all this diet culture stuff. Forget weigh-in Wednesdays, forget like all of this stuff, right? I'm just going to run, and I'm just going to have fun because I know what it was like when I no longer had it. So like, why would I lie to myself and like say all these things and make all these promises? I'm going to keep the promise. So that's what I'm doing. It's just keeping that promise to myself that I made.
Okay, I want to go back to actually your training before your first marathon. It sounds like maybe you didn't actually love that training, and it was maybe more focused on weight loss and maybe some specific goals, and it lacked a little bit of the joy. Would you think that that's pretty accurate?
Absolutely.
So you have no community, you have no coach, you are...
He's ripping shirts off in the Dick's.
Yeah, you're struggling to find the proper gear. Explain to me how you get to the start line in Detroit when everything seems like it's fighting against you.
And before you answer, I see where Megan's going with this, because this is one of her favorite things. She hates it when people make excuses. You had every right at that point to make an excuse, not to run. Mm-hmm. But that's, I think, where she's getting to. Like, how did you get... I mean, I don't want to mansplain.
Yeah, no,
it,
I mean, like, how did you get there with all those obstacles?
Pure spite. So I think
anger.
I think the spite of me wanting to like give this doctor the middle finger, and me being like, you know what? I'm going to prove his ass wrong. I'm going to go to this doctor's office and throw the medal on the desk and be like, boom, I told you so in your face, right? That was the thing that kept me going for the betterment of 18 months.
I'm going to tell you something. He might be the greatest doctor ever because he got you running, got you pissed off. And I mean, look at where you are now from that day. Like, it's so weird when we think something's a point of anger or a point of contention. Sometimes it turns out that it's the thing that actually helps us change our lives for the better. Mm-hmm. And it's just interesting that because I'll tell you, I think there's a lot of people that are running out there because they're angry at something. Maybe they went through a breakup and they need to get that, feeling back of self-confidence, and, maybe completing a distance they thought they couldn't would give them that self-confidence. So it's kind of amazing that you were able to take that anger and that, like, I would guess it was almost embarrassing when you said that to take that and funnel it into a positive thing for yourself.
Yes. So in my book, I write about this, right? I write about this thing of like finding an enemy, right? I'm a big Jordan fan. And if you watch the Last Dance,
Yeah.
you know, that whole thing of like, I took it personally and then I'm going to go perform my best is somewhat one of the things that I found like that makes me tick as well. You know, you're not going to tell me that I can't do something. You know, I think it goes along with authority, right? Like, you're not going to tell me no. Like, if I'm going to do something and I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I think for a lot of people, we kind of lose that, right? Because of like, what's the word I want? Like, being civil is the thing that everybody tries to do, right? Or like prides themselves of doing, right? But I think when you see yourself as an athlete, like, I think being civil and like being like a dog athlete, it's kind of against each other, right? So that's one of the things I try to get like my clients to really understand is that you can log into and tune into like this athlete's mindset and find that dog mentality to get you there. Like, I got a 10-pound poodle, and I swear, like, she wheels her way to like a treat or being picked up or whatever, or like playing fetch, right? Like, she wheels her way to play fetch with you. And you can be like, no, Mabel, I'm not playing fetch. She'll put the ball in your foot. No, Mabel, I'm not playing fetch. And then like, say you like, she'll put it so close to your foot that when you move your foot, like, it'll roll. And then it's like, we're playing fetch. And then like, you know, it comes to the point, it's like, nope, I'm not playing. And then like, she'll play fetch with herself. Like, she'll whip the ball around and then like go run and go get it and then come back and bring it back to your foot, right? And it's that thing of like, you got to will your way to your goals and your dreams, right? And sometimes you got to do it to the point where other people might see that you're delusional about the goal. Because I'm like, no, Mabel, I'm not playing fetch. But next thing you know, like 3 hours later, after her whipping the ball and putting it next to my foot and all this other things, guess what I'm doing? I'm playing fetch. So I think if a lot of people just thought about their goals in that way of, we got to be like, find that dogmatic mentality or find that athlete's mindset, a lot of people will be able to accomplish their goals in ways that they probably have never thought they would.
I mean, I think you're 100% right there. The one thing I would add, though, is if I was your dad, I'd be like, you can't clean your room.
Okay. Did you go back and throw the medal at that doctor?
No, unfortunately, I didn't.
Okay.
That's one of the things that's like one of my biggest regrets. But, you know, it's 10 years later now. I don't even remember the doctor's name. I done moved to 10, 15 places since then. But it's one of the things that I wish I would have did.
I know, but I feel like as much as, like we said, as much as he was the Darth Vader in this story, he got you trained to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
Wow, I just brought in a Star Wars reference there.
So I know you didn't have like a running community, but what did you have family or friends who saw you starting out on this journey who like supported you on it?
Yes. So my wife, who was my girlfriend back then today, she supported in the ways of like being at every race, you know, talking to random strangers, telling people about the 300 pounds of running blog when I'm out running, right? She also supported in ways that, like, in the book, I talk about this cautionary tale where I went on like an hour run and I didn't eat anything. And me calling her, anytime I called her on a run and said, hey, come get me, she came and got me with no talk back, right? So she supported me in ways that other individuals hasn't supported me. I would say 10 years later, there are friends who are like, you know, Martinus, I know you asked me to go on this journey, and 10 years later, I'm here to tell you that I wish I went on this journey because I see all the things that you're doing, and I could have been right there beside you, but I had my own limiting beliefs when it came to running.
Yeah. Have they changed their mind now, though?
No.
Oh, come on. Start now. Just think where you'll be in 10 years, man. Yeah.
So I know have you done, is it 8 marathons now?
Yes.
Okay. So after Detroit, and then you had the accident, and then you started up running again. And then when did you do your second marathon?
Oh, shoot. Was it New York?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
At this
Stepping
point,
it up. Detroit, New York.
At this point, like, they're starting to all run together.
Yeah.
Is that a pun? Were you trying to do a pun?
Hey, I'm trying to be like you. I'm trying to be like you.
I feel it.
They're all starting to run together. But I end up doing New York twice, Detroit twice, Berlin, Boston, Big Sur, Route 66.
Oh man, so these
You're
all have
choosing
some
the
different
hilly
courses.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna go for the 6 stars, you think?
Yes, I am. I think one race that has my biggest concern at the moment is Tokyo.
Yeah.
So
why is that a concern?
Because they are very strict when it comes to their pace limits, and from what I hear from people is that as soon as the gun go off and the last person crosses the start line, like literally the city of Tokyo is like cleaning up right behind you. They are breaking down stuff. They're cleaning up. And I've heard of horror stories of like friends who went to the bathroom or like stood in line too long for the porta potty, and they came out and they tapped them and told them, "Hey, you fell behind the pace limit." So,
what do you know what the pace is that would be?
I want to say 6, 5.5 or 6. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know like
I would guess it has to be at least 6.
Yeah,
I would think.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that worries me about Tokyo. It's one of the things that after this book tour and things of that sort, I'll really have to apply myself to get to that pace so I can do it within that limit.
So we've been referencing this book. Tell everyone exactly what it is and when it's coming out.
Yes. So Slow AF Run Club, the ultimate guide for anybody who wants to run. This is the manual that I wish I had when I started running in 2012. So here's the thing. Most how-to running books are written by elite athletes or coaches of elite athletes telling you how to run their particular way. So I am an RRCA run coach. And when I got my certification, they gave me like the Daniels formula on running. I don't know if anybody ever read that book, but I have read it from cover to cover, right? And it's V.02s, it's 13-minute mile paces, it's 2 quality runs. And me thinking about the Martinus I was back in 2012 starting to run, that stuff was useless to me. You know, beginner runners or individuals who are intimidated about the sport of running, they need different type of advice of like, so for example, hey Martinus, I know you're finna go for your first run. Don't wear cotton underwear. And here's why, right? Or like,
I didn't even think of that one.
Like nobody tells you like you've been wearing
Yeah.
cotton underwear all your years and you about to go for a run. And it's like,
Well,
man, your bits are going to be chafed.
Yeah, I guess you just like, for if you're buying running shorts and if you can get them in your size, they have a built-in liner. So you're like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that you didn't have that. So
I didn't have
but do you even get into like the buying the right shoe and the whole like, hey, let's get you kitted the first day?
Everything. I go through
wow.
everything from mindset to gear to nutrition to finding the community, training plans, recovery, pretty much any and everything that I wish I've known when I started, or the questions that my current clients ask me. So, any question that they've asked me is in this book. So, thinking about, hey, Martinez, like, I know you told me to eat, but like when, how much, and what? I'll talk about that in the book. Martinez, like, I know you say you carry your own water on your race, but like, what else do you do? Like, what other things do you carry? I talk about that in the book, right? But I also talk about like the mindset aspect of it as well, of like, hey, you need to calm down. Like, I know you're excited about this race, but you working yourself up and having these nerves, you're going to run out like a bat out of hell, and you're going to burn out in the first half of the race. So a lot of practical information about this book or about running, as well as tied with cautionary tales that I personally experienced to let people know, like, this is why you shouldn't do this.
All right.
So is this for someone that is, I mean, I'm assuming it's obviously the beginner runner. You're saying this is the stuff you wish you had, but is someone's training for a 5K or a marathon or a half marathon, or is it all of this information is good for everyone?
I think all of this information is good for everyone. Like, we don't go into like training plans and things of that sort, but I think for the individual who been running for a while and wants like a different type of story or a different type of narrative, you'll find some interest in this, because every chapter has, like I said, this cautionary tale of something that I experienced that may be useful, right? But I think for a lot of people, we tend to forget some of the things, or like basic things in running, just because of like diet culture, right? Like, for example, we're talking about food, right? Like, there's like food wars happening right now. You're a pescatarian, you're a bad person. Carbs are bad. Meat is bad. You're a vegetarian, oh, you're bad as well, right? But really getting people to really understand, like what does a carbohydrate does in your body? What does a protein do? And why is it better to have more carbs at this time versus another time? Kind of makes sense as well.
And where did you learn this information? Like, where did you get your knowledge about nutrition?
A mixture of stuff. So self-taught. So like I said, I had to go become my own certified run coach to teach myself. I also have a bachelor's degree in exercise science. I have a master's in health promotion. And during that process, I've taken nutrition courses, nutritional epidemiology, and just all types of things in itself along the way.
So you said that some of your clients will ask you about nutrition, when to eat, and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. Do you find that like it's a triggering thing for people that are overweight to be, if they're on a journey to lose weight or whatever, you find that they are handling it wrong? Like you said, you went out without any nutrition, and I'm guessing you bonked. And,
yes.
Yeah. And is that a battle that you have to fight with some of these people? Like, hey, you need to fuel for a run?
Absolutely. So like that's probably one of the biggest things that I go through, is letting people know, like, hey, running for weight loss and like running to train for a half marathon or a full marathon kind of is totally opposite of each other. So, when, you start talking about carbs, like, as soon as you start talking about carbs to somebody who's on like a weight loss journey, it's pretty much like deaf ears. But then they come to me and they're like, I'm not feeling well, all this other stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, if you eat some bread, you eat a carb or two, maybe you won't be going through this.
So do you love it when they go for a run and they're well fueled for the run and they like come back and say, oh, I get it now?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's got to be, if it's got to feel vindicating when you get that back from someone.
I hate to tell them I told you so. So, so I try to find out ways so they can tell me instead.
Yeah.
So the Slow AF Run Club, you have the book, but you also have an online community as well. Can you talk to us about how that works?
Yeah, so the Slow AF Run Club is an online community for, I like to say, slow runners and walkers all over the world, right? Our goal is to get 1 million people to start running in the body that they have now. So it's an app on iOS and Android. And think of it as a Facebook for slow runners without all the other mess that goes along with Facebook, right? Like, you don't have to worry about politics or arguing with your auntie and then coming inside this Facebook group and doing all this other type of stuff, right? And it's really like a real safe space where, we don't talk about diets. We're not worrying about what somebody paces is or things of that sort. It's really about providing a safe space and psychological safety for individuals to try something and not feel bad or guilty that they tried something and they failed at it. So we provide training plans. We have a personal trainer who comes on twice a week, who does fitness classes, right? And they're very accessible. So she do chair exercises and so on and so forth. We also meet up at races and things of that sort. And then one of the other things that I'm pretty excited about is that we are launching a nonprofit arm for the Slow AF Run Club. called the Slow Your Run Club Foundation. And with that, we'll give individuals the opportunity to be able to apply to launch their own Slow Your Run Club in their particular location. So that's one of the things that I'm pretty excited about as well. And it really just goes back to that mission of getting 1 million people to start running in the body they have now, and just completely squashing that notion of I'm too fat, too old, too fill in the blank to be a runner.
So do you have a count where you're at right now? Like McDonald's has a sign that says over 500 million served, or now it's just like over billions and billions.
So currently we have about 10,334 members inside the community. I just looked at it today.
Nice.
That's right. I think we should get a little ticker. You should get a little sign. So pop everyone that goes up. But I mean, it's an incredible mission, just because I know how much running has changed my life. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say my entry to barrier was probably a little less and was a little smoother than it is for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. The more people, obviously, they can get into the sport, it's just so good. And you talked a little bit earlier about like your mental side when you were feeling almost suicidal after the car crash. There's people that don't even know about running or physical exercise and how it can change your mind that are out there that hopefully you're reaching for the first time. If they're not doing any exercise, they're not getting any benefit. How many stories do you hear from people that like on that end of things that like this gave them a purpose?
Tons of stories. I think one of the things that happens inside the club is every 2 or 3 months, we get the same cycle of people up coming in this thing, and they're sad, they're depressed, they're whatever, right? I'm not a runner. I don't want to do this, so on and so forth. And like they try some training plans. The community like pours into them, like I said, filling up their love tank. And then they run a few races. They meet with people in person. And like you can kind of see like their demeanor change over this period of time. And this happens on a consistent basis. And then when I'm out at races or just meetups and things of that sort, I hear tons of stories of like, hey man, hearing your story, or, that commercial you were in, or like, I seen what happened to you at Berlin Marathon. Like those stuff, like I would have quit, and to see you continue to move forward, that gave me the liberty to move forward as well.
So in that, we have a couple of run clubs here in Baltimore that we run with, and inevitably some romances blossom. Have you seen any romances blossoming in your community there?
I cannot confirm nor deny.
It's a funny thing when you start moving, isn't it?
It is.
So outside of the online community, do you have do you have regular meetups and runs that you host locally?
So not at the moment. Like that's one of the things that we're planning on doing once we get the nonprofit up and running, is to do that. Like I'm just a one-man band here. I can't do everything, right? As much as I want to. And this is where I wholeheartedly, by having this mission, launching a nonprofit, I can then sleep at night knowing that, there's going to be people who are going to participate, in knowing that we have a larger mission versus it be like a for-profit corporation type of thing, right?
For sure. What's next for you personally on the running side of things?
I was planning to give myself a break this year. However, I have a 25 city book tour, and each one of these tours want a 2 to 3 mile fun run attached to it. So I got a lot of running that I will be doing. Big races that I'm looking forward to this year is Chicago. So I got into Chicago last year, and I deferred. So I'm looking to go to Chicago and add that one to my 6 star as well.
Where are you living now?
So I currently stay in Brooklyn, New York.
All right, we're gonna be there this weekend.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah. So Chicago is a nice flat, fast course.
Yeah.
It should be fun for you. You're not gonna have too much trouble when you get there, as far as having a good time, because the whole city feels like it's running. It's another great marathon around the sport.
Okay. So I look forward to Chicago, and then next year, I'm doing Little Rock, so that's something I look forward
Arkansas.
to. Arkansas, I've never been to Arkansas.
Me either.
And then on this book tour, I have San Francisco Marathon. I'll be there. I'll participate in either the 5 or 10 mile, Boilermaker Road Race, Peachtree Road Race.
Oh wow.
There's two or three other races that I can't think of off the top of my head that is also a part of the book tour. And then I'm gonna be at a bunch of local running shoe stores across the nation. I'll actually be at Charm City, so
Nice.
I know that's pretty close to you all.
When are you coming there?
Second week in June, I think the 12th.
Oh, we should be here.
Yeah, we might be here for that.
Yeah, we'll have to come see you for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. We'll probably have to send out the alert to Tribe and Riot, and we got the Faster Bastards. Everybody,
All the
come out
run
and support.
crews.
Yeah.
Now, most people are coming to you for motivation and inspiration, but is there anyone in your world that you follow that you're motivated by?
There are a few people. I think one of the things that I'm typically like self-motivated. So the thought of my future self typically motivates me to like get where I need to go. If that don't work, Goggins, I'm a big Goggins fan. He's up there. My good friend LaToya Shante Snell. I actually live about 6 or 7 blocks away from her. So just to either just watch her and know like all the personal stuff that she's going through, like all the background stuff, and then for her to still like get up and go walk a half marathon or run a half marathon, and then like still troll her. It's just one of the things that's really inspiring as well, right? To know that like I know what she's going through, like to be there and like see some of these things happen, and then her still get up and be like, I'm having an endo flare up, but I'm still gonna run this race. And me be like, shit, like my back hurt. Like, so like just to see that, right, that inspires me. My good friend Myrna, that she inspires me as well. But other than that, it's most of the time just hearing the stories of like how my journey has changed other people's lives that keeps me going. Because I know that people are watching and they looking for and towards me for inspiration. And with that being said, I try to be as raw and real as possible to let people know like when I'm running, when I'm having fun, but also when I'm not having the greatest time as well.
If someone comes to you and they want to start running, but they haven't before, they want to do a 5K, they want to do a half, whatever it is, but they can't seem to get themselves motivated, what do you tell them?
First thing I tell them is that do it in spite of it, right? Like motivation is a farce, right? Motivation is there when things are good. Like whenever like things are going great, like we're always motivated to do something, but it's never there when we actually need something or like in the time that like we're downtrodden and like we need that kick. So one of the things I try to do is have like this real raw conversation with them. And really the goal throughout all of this is to get them to take the first step. So it's like, hey, like let's put out some clothes the night before. Hey, like if you need to, let's sleep in those running clothes. Like let's try to minimize the barrier as much as possible to get them to outside. And then once we get there, it's just little tiny habits along the way. Like let's start with a small interval. All right, you don't want to look at a watch. Like let's look at landmarks. Like do you have any like street lights or like little lamps or water fire hydrants that you can use at this as a thing that you can use for your intervals, right? So it's not one thing that I can tell somebody. It's more of us like, I know this sucks. I've been there before. I'm here with you. But if you really want to do this, you're going to have to do it. And you have to do it when you're not feeling well.
Yeah.
Nobody tells you that.
Yeah.
You missed one thing.
What?
Buy a new pair of shoes.
That as well, right? Buy a new
Yeah.
pair of shoes. And one of the things I've been having to tell people lately is clip your damn toenails. Like,
Oh,
you can
wow.
imagine the amount of people who don't clip their toenails. And it's like, yo, like your toenails are gonna wrap around them toes, man. You need
Oh, man.
to you need to clip
That's a
them
tip.
toenails.
I'm going to have to save that tip for when we write a book. Oh, man.
Speaking of shoes, we're big shoe nerds over here, so I have to ask, what do you love to train in?
All right. So currently I'm training in the Brooks Hyperion Max and then the Clifton 9s.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Solid. And then what about race day?
Race day, I'm a big Eddie Zero pro.
All right.
Nice.
I just ran one in the Adios Pro. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah. It's by far one of my favorite like super shoe foams. I really like their foam composition.
Do you ever just feel like running in that and not going back to, the Clifton or the Hyperion Max?
I do, but I think the thing that really trips me up is, it's a super shoe, so it's like it's not overly stable, and so for like a slower runner and like me having to like continue to lean forward and all this other stuff, I just don't have it in me to like wear it for every run.
Yeah, I feel you. Cool.
All right, so you have a book coming out. You already have a huge online community. You're starting a nonprofit. I think you host a couple podcasts. Is that correct?
Yeah.
How do you have time for all this?
I don't. Yeah, so we also host a couple podcasts. One of them is kind of dormant because I had to write a book. But I have a podcast called The Long Run with Martinus and Latoya. And me and my friend Latoya just talks about like all the things that we're going through as plus size slow runners, right? I think that we are both characters, like we're both hilarious. And I think it's just, the chemistry would just always just been there, right? Just having a conversation. And I remember interviewing her for my podcast, and I was like, yo, like, I just enjoy talking with you. Like, would you be interested in having a podcast together? So that's one that we do like once a month now. And then after this book tour, I plan to relaunch the Martinus Evans podcast.
All right.
And what do you talk about on that one?
So typically I used to interview like people in the back of the pack, right? So final finishers, people who like experience like hardship during races. I think one of the things that I really want to do once I relaunch it is really get deeper into the mindset of just being an athlete. I think that when it really comes down to it, everybody can learn running, right? You can search it on Google. It's almost widely available. But I think for a lot of people, that mindset thing is something that a lot of people just don't think about or just even don't respect. So I really want to spend more time in just the mindset of being an athlete. So being able to interview tons of different athletes and really talk about like how do they get into the mindset of being that dogmatic player or a runner or whatever.
I love it. Awesome. All right, Martinus, thank you a ton for coming on. Can you remind everyone when and where to get your book?
Yes. So Slow AF Run Club, the ultimate guide for anybody who wants to run, is available June 6th, wherever books are sold. So the store that starts with an A, the store that starts with a B, but also all of your independent bookstores as well. You might be able to find it at Target and Walmart as well. It should be available everywhere.
And it sounds like it's going to be at local running stores as well. So, I mean, I can't think of a better place than...
Yeah, where can people find a list of all your tour stops?
So if you go to slowafrunclub.com/events, you'll find the running list of all of the events that we have popping off. And we got tons of events from... this thing, oddly enough, will probably go out from June throughout the rest of the year.
So when you come to Charm City, do you know which store you're going to?
The one that starts with a T.
Timonium. All right. I was going to say, if
Yes.
you were out downtown here in Fells Point, you got to get yourself some Eki Ben.
Okay.
You can't roll through town. There's two things you could do. You could eat crabs, or you could get ekiben, and ekiben is to me better than crabs.
What is ekiben?
It's kind of like it's really interesting. It's sort of Korean based street food mixed with American, but it's it is some of the most delicious chicken, and they do tofu. They do it all. So, but it's delicious. You can't be beat. Okay. So, anytime someone comes to town, I say skip the fancy stuff. Go to ekiben.
Okay.
And you'll be happy. I mean, they have close enough to the store. They have a spot in Hamden, so that might be close enough. You just tell them, hey, while we're here, we're going to ekiben. Yeah.
I don't even know how to spell that. Is that ekiben with a B? Or I mean,
Ekiben.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Ekiben. And just say I want the bird. And they'll know. They'll know.
Okay. I got it. Ekiben.
All right. You got to trust me on this one.
All right.
So hopefully we'll see you here soon in Baltimore, and if not, we'll hopefully see you in Chicago this fall because we will also be there.
Okay. Looking forward to meeting you all in person.
All right, awesome. Great. Yeah, thanks again so much for coming on. This was fun to hear your story and just chat a little bit more.
No problem. You all have a great one.